And right now, I am joined by Nicole Brewster, CEO, President, Director of Renforth Resources. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We've got our vodka, no sugar,
No sugar,
carbs.
no carbs. Yeah, cheers.
Cheers. I'm not a big drinker, but I can tell you, I really appreciate you bringing over this beverage. Because being on my diet, I can't have sugar, and this has none, or carbs. So that's awesome. Your company, right now, the stock closed today at 5.5 cents. When we first brought it to our community, I think it was around 3 cents, somewhere around there.
Yeah, 2.5, 3.
Yeah. So, hey, congratulations to everybody who picked up some of Renforth stock when we first brought it to you.
Yeah, listen to that first interview and acted on it. They're pretty close to a double.
Yeah. And the macros for gold right now are looking fantastic. We talked about that, I think, in the first interview.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I just think it's even more exciting.
Gold today, I mean, what did it close at? 1877 today, the spot?
Yeah.
The macros are only getting stronger for gold and for fiat currency in general. U.S. is going to want a lower dollar headed into an election to try and bring manufacturing home. U.S. jobless numbers are up. Second wave is biting. The economy might not be as rosy as they're trying to say, so gold's reacting.
Yeah.
And you've got a sophisticated generation coming into the market that understands Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So they understand that money's not money's a promise.
Yeah.
Gold's a thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
I just read an article about the Robinhood traders.
Yeah.
Hey, they can move markets.
Look, I'm looking at listing. I'm looking very closely. I met with our lawyer today.
Okay.
And I have to do a bit more of my own due diligence or fact checking, but I put a fair bit of time into investigating listing on the OTC QB.
Yeah.
The lower, I believe it's QX and the lower one's QB.
Yeah.
So I've been looking at listing on the OTC QB in the States, because once listed in the States, that puts you on the radar of all the U.S. brokers.
Absolutely.
And that's a big market.
There's a lot of volume and liquidity right there right now.
Yeah.
So that's a good move.
Yeah. So
I'm looking forward statements for you right there.
That's on the to-do list. So
you closed the this first tranche of a financing. Can you tell us a little bit about who these people are, or not specifically, but anything that maybe shareholders could kind of know, or potential new shareholders?
Yeah, for sure. I can't tell you specifics, of course, but in fact, by the time your viewers see this, they'll be aware that we've closed a second tranche today, and the subscribers are the first tranche and then this tranche together. It's about $430,000 before commissions, but the subscribers are coming from 2 supportive brokers we have, as well as existing shareholders.
Okay.
And those existing shareholders are pretty much all in Quebec. They've come in repeatedly, retail-sized orders. These aren't big orders. These are $2,500, $5,000 private placement. Oh yeah, and that's what I prefer. I like the broader retail base. As much as everyone likes certain funds or certain high-profile investors who are investing very heavily in the sector, they take very large positions, and everybody buys stock to sell stock. And when those guys sell the stock, it's it can have an impact.
Yeah.
So I prefer to try and keep the distribution broader.
Yeah.
And those people tend to hold it. They're holding it because they believe in the assets in the company.
Yeah.
They're not just flipping it for the warrant.
Right. So you did a site visit at New Alger?
Yep. I was up there last week.
Can you talk about sort of the blasting and some of the things that you saw?
Yeah, for sure. So I put on our Facebook page. Renforth has a Facebook page, and I did probably a horrible Facebook Live because my hands shake and I'm looking for my finger. But I stood in the main blast crater. I explained to people what we're looking at and why we were excited. We blasted in 4 areas. And in each area, we saw the rocks with the appropriate ingredients we were looking for. Visually, the rocks look very good. we have to assay it. So I'm going to forestall what's the next logical question. Today, actually, we just dropped off at a freight company in Rouyn-Noranda 1,800-pound bags of rock taken from the 4 blast areas. The 2 on the east kind of merged into one because they were so close together. So we have 3 blast areas. We're going to take that rock. It's going to go to SGS Lakefield in Ontario.
Okay.
It's going to be processed for to determine the characteristics, the statistical information we need in order to look at custom milling the rock.
Now, some of those samples are from the blasting?
They're all from the blasting.
Okay.
Big rice bags, 1,800 pounds, going by on a truck. Now, the next thing we're going to do with the blasting, it was exciting because the discovery veins are 275 meters. We stripped it, and then we extensively channeled the surface. We blasted in areas where we had a concentration of gold and in the historic blast pit area. So we have this flat surface. It's golden quartz veining. You can walk at it and look down at it, but you can't get at it. It's solid. So the blasting opened up the rock so we could see fresh rock. We could see better texture and more detail than when you drill and you get the little drill core piece or the channel sample piece. And in the main blasting pit, the south end of it, that wall, we could see, and I posted on Facebook where we had channeled, and there's sediment right below it. There's quartz that, of course, are channeling mist, but there's actually 3 bands of quartz, and they're dipping away from us, and they're flat-lying veins. On the sides, we could see the vertical veins that blow out at depth, but we saw these flat veins. That's important because those veins are dipping south at about 60 degrees, and typically we drilled that portion of the property, drilling from the north to the south at 60 degrees, meaning we could very easily drill right between the veins and not hit them at all because we're drilling parallel to them, and you never want to drill parallel to your veins.
Yeah.
So for this program, we immediately said, wow, pulled the rig to the south, drilled to the north so that we would go through those veins. So that's right there. That was worth the cost of the blasting, just to know that, to confirm flat-lying veins, which we suspected for a while.
Yeah.
That right there, anything now is gravy.
So you feel like you got the value out of that?
Right there, just by doing that.
So you're happy. How many of these holes are going to be step-outs versus infill holes?
We have done 3 infill holes now. These are short holes. We have a fault that runs through the discovery veins and up to the mine area. Generally speaking, the fault divides the discovery veins into the west and the east. The veins are not, when we did our thin section work, the observations led to the conclusion that it's not one vein. It's actually 2 veins. The fault has somehow offset them and kind of drawn them together so it looks like one. That's all fine. But what I can tell you is there's a difference in the amount of gold we're seeing from the west and the east, both in our previous program and in our surface, our channels.
Yeah.
So it does seem a little different. So this time we've done 2 infill holes in the west. We drilled under the main blast pit, which we have not done before. We've completed that hole. We drilled under the western blast pit, which is the very southwest corner of the stripped area.
Yeah.
Completed that hole. The best drilling we did on the discovery veins was in the western end of the discovery veins. So that western hole stepped out like 20 meters and went south, and it drilled to the north. We came to the east end. We did 1 hole in the east end. We don't know. We see the rocks look different.
Yeah.
Not bad. Different. And now we're stepping out to step outs. We're going outside of the stripped area to the west. We've moved about 100 meters to the west, and we're actually going to drill a hole from the north to the south and a hole from the south to the north. Okay. Because we don't really know where the veins are going. We think they're dipping south as we go west, because the Cadillac Break dips south as you go west. So we're going to go in 2 directions. We'll do that.
Yeah.
I would like to step out another 100 meters, but maybe we'll see something that causes us to change our approach.
What would you say is the importance of the infill drills?
Right now we have a economically driven open pit resource at New Alger. So that really means the main pit is in the area of the Cadillac Break and the historic Thompson Cadillac Mine. So the discovery vein is 250 meters to the south, extensively sampled. We got a lot of indicated ounces because of how tightly we sampled, but we have 2 little baby pits because we had only done 6 drill holes or 7 drill holes. So infill drilling will add to our ounces. The infill holes were designed to add ounces.
So this kind of correlates to your recent resource estimate.
Right. It would mature. It's building on our recent resource estimate. We're filling it in. It will add ounces depending on what we get. The step outs, we're stepping out further than would come into the now that's exploration. We're stepping out aggressively. If we wanted to add ounces, we should only be stepping out by 25, maybe 50 meters.
Yeah.
We're leapfrogging. We're going 100 meters, 100
right.
meters, 100 meters.
Right.
We can always come back.
Yeah.
But we'll get out there first.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about New Alger?
Well, we're going to map the blasted area, and we're going to actually do a lot of sampling on the surface as well. We want to see what we saw, a lot of textures and slightly more detail in the rocks. So we're going to try and sample them all to see what the relationship to gold is.
Okay.
Learn more about it. So there was going to be a bunch of surface samples come out of the blasting as well. That work hasn't been done yet. As we press released today, we're doing the drilling at New Alger right now.
Yeah.
And we're actually doing some prospecting at our Malartic West copper silver discovery.
Ooh,
so
silver. That's a trending.
Silver's trending, and we're 5 and 8 grams, that sort of thing on surface, which it's a discovery. Of course, high grade silver and the numbers get much bigger.
Yeah.
But we're walking over this stuff. I think we're at 165 meters of it. We've never drilled it. It's a pure new discovery. There was no historical record. This could be anything. We don't know yet what we have. We've got potential. We have mineralization.
Right.
So we'll keep working at it. Copper's not a bad thing either.
Copper's moving, yeah.
You know, and they're good. They're decent copper grades on surface, and silver for on surface. Those are good. Next to Canada's biggest open pit gold mine, then maybe there's a systematic. Maybe there's a relationship. We don't know. It's between 2 intrusives, and it's on a ridge. What's going on structurally? We don't know.
Yeah.
But we also have a highway. We have it's a regional road that goes to the hydroelectric dams. So it's kept open year round. It's a beautiful road, big, high. They grade it.
Yeah. Well maintained.
Well maintained. Comes off the Trans-Canada, and we can walk to I've done it. Pull off that road, park, and walk maybe a couple kilometers, walk right to the Beaupré copper silver. So logistics couldn't be better. So once you've got those kind of logistics in that kind of neighborhood, your grades start to, we don't need top of the mountain in the Andes grades, right?
Yep.
So
let's move on from New Alger now.
Yep.
And when I say the word Parbec, what's the first thing you think of?
Well, I thought of 2 things, but I thought there's a rumor mill going right now about our neighbors, and then we do have some surface results that, again, by the time your readers see this, will be out for Parbec. But we took our beep mat out there in June, and we did some prospecting. We did it at New Alger, and we've got the data, and it'll be assimilated into our data package. But at Parbec, we got a bit more aggressive with it, and we started prospecting with it and stripping right behind the beep mat. Like, the guys would take the data, they would upload it at night. The next day, they would go back and prospect on the basis of the data.
Okay.
So kind of in fact, they got to doing it in real time.
Yeah.
One geologist was working from home and one was in the field, and
yeah,
they're trading data back and forth.
Back and forth, yeah.
So that did lead us to do some prospecting, which we will have some surface results that'll come out, which is amazing because it's proof of concept. It's in the diorite splay. The diorite splay is a new discovery. It's a secondary. It's a splay of the Cadillac Break. It's a secondary mineralized structure. There's in fact 3 mineralized structures on the Parbec property. It explains why it looked like the Cadillac Break got thicker at Parbec in the regional geophysics. So being able to tease that out and build that out a little bit and as cost effectively as we did is exciting, and it just means it needs more work. Mm-hmm. But right now we're spending our money wisely by not spending it at all, because our neighbor commenced drilling, as I believe I press released or put in a newsletter last winter. They commenced drilling at the East Amphi property next door. So Parbec's on the Cadillac Break, and it runs right up to East Amphi on the Cadillac Break. East Amphi is a former mine. It's part of the Canadian Malartic Mine property, but it is the former East Amphi mine. Canadian Malartic, they've got five crushers running on that site. They're chewing through rock at a ridiculous rate. They've done some exploration to the east everybody knows about, but what they started doing was some exploration to the west, and nobody knows anything about it yet. That's the frustrating thing. However, they've had multiple drills on the property. They've been within in the winter when we flew over, they were within about 400 meters of Parbec's border. And the gossip that's been heard from the manager of the town dump in Malartic and the brother of, a functionary in Malartic, and there's a rumor circulating that they've hit something big at East Amphi. And if that's the case, that'll be wonderful. We won't know until they tell the public because, they're able to keep things under wraps. They're an operating mine and nothing's truly material. So,
well, speculators love rumors.
Speculators do love rumors. Yep.
You know what? I do have to go back to New Alger because my question, even on Parbec, was trying to get some timelines, estimated timelines on assays and what you're kind of looking to find. So can you kind of give us some estimated timelines for assays on New Alger and then even Parbec?
Okay, so New Alger, the only results I'm just expecting any time now will be the very initial testing of the rejects by SGS for grindability. Now they got very low grade, like below cutoff grade ore.
Yeah.
I'll probably press release it. I may wait until do it with the blast ore as well. That's being shipped to Blast Rock. Sorry, that's being shipped to them now. That's going to be that's going to be early September. That data is available. Okay. It'll come to me in dribs and drabs. When they finally wrap it up, it'll be early September. We're drilling right now. We will be dropping samples off to the lab in the next week, probably. Not before. Samples turnaround at the lab is about a 3-week process. So that kind of gives you 4 weeks for drilling results.
Okay.
And we haven't yet taken the characterization hand samples. So, we're end of August. We'll start to see results from New Alger. Before that, what'll get exciting is, as I alluded to, and which will have to be out, or maybe it'll be out. We'll have Parbec. We took a few samples, not a lot at Parbec when we were prospecting. Those samples will be out. We took a lot of samples at Surimeau. Those samples will be released. We're starting to get those results in. Okay. I would expect we'll have the balance of the Surimeau results in the next kind of week, and we'll probably have that out in a week or two.
Anything that excites you on that property?
Yeah, that property excites me. That property is something totally different, and I have a shareholder who, if he watches this video, will shoot me because he would like me to talk about nothing but gold. And there is going to be a gold element at Surimeau, but Surimeau's big. It's really big. It's several historic properties. It used to be the bottom of the Malartic West property, and we chopped the bottom off.
So it's split into two.
Yeah.
Malartic split into two.
Malartic split into two, and we staked additional claims, a lot of them. So what we have, Lalonde was a gold showing that used to be part of Malartic West. It was in the southern portion of Malartic West. We took that and we staked the Victoria and the Colony historic showings to the south. So I've made a little triangle. Between Colony and Victoria is about 20 kilometers, 19 kilometers. And between Lalonde and Colony is about 20 kilometers. We also staked something called Surimeau, actually, an old project up to the northwest. And the reason that this was all staked, it was worked historically in the 80s with lower, not all low, not stop the press's numbers necessarily, for copper, zinc, nickel, and gold. But they were always held by different people, and they were small properties. So now we've put together one trend that's 20 kilometers, and it's a mafic and ultramafic intrusive. It's the same body. You can see it in geophysics, and it's been It appears in the regional geological maps. So the structure's there. Either end of the structure is mineralized. Nobody's looked at the middle yet.
So you're going to go stick a drill in there?
We did the sampling, but then we go from Colony up to our new staking, and that takes you more than 20 kilometers. Same structure, 2 different axes. So it's a vast property. We've done a bunch of surface sampling of old blast pits and outcrop we could find, weathered stuff, rusty stuff. Maybe you saw the picture I posted, and it was all rusty, the
Any
rocks.
purple rocks there?
We have a lot of interesting things going on there, and we're assaying for a bunch of stuff. We're going to do a few more things there. We're going to go to a few people who are very versed in VMS environments to see if this is a version of a VMS. We're also going to do some thin section work just to identify the mineralization or the mineralogy. And we're starting from the ground up, but we're doing what's never been done before. We put them all together. So taken as a big whole, it's a big system.
Yeah.
So what's in the system?
Right.
Again, we're beside the Canadian Malartic Mine. We drove to the other, not the Malartic West. The main access is on the west side. Surimeau, the main access is on the east side, well, and the west. But both of these are big highways, big roads. So we've got road access. So the economics are different as well. But nickel, zinc, copper, sitting beside the highway in Quebec, that's interesting.
Yeah, I like it.
So it's a totally different can of worms.
Well, I guess that leads me to my next question. In Quebec, you got a lot of things going on. So how are you going to balance it all?
We're working, one after the other. We have the staff, and we've got 2 geologists available to us right now. So each geologist can work on a project. They don't need to both be on the same one. The work we're doing right now is very cost efficient. I mean, we're with Surimeau and Malartic West, we're at the just prospecting stage. Boots on the ground, men walking around, observing the rocks, sampling the rocks, mapping the rocks. And doing a lot of thinking, a lot of lab work. So it's not costly yet.
Yeah.
Will it get costly? Of course it will, but the money we're spending is not dilutive. It's not just going away to, helicopter rides and dinners. Yeah. It's going into the ground and it's adding value.
Yeah. So you don't want to take me on a helicopter ride? Take me to
No, we're not going on a helicopter ride.
That's right.
Sorry. But it's adding value. So as these mature and they need more work, they'll need more spending. We'll have to raise money. Yeah. Hopefully the stock price comes up a little bit.
Yeah.
Less dilutive. I mean, that's just the evolution of we're past an exploration company. We're now a junior resource company. So as a junior resource company grows to be a development company, it does get more cash intensive. And we work with contractors. I mean, the expertise is out there. We can hire. We work with a lot of different guys to do all their little pieces of the puzzle. So
fair enough. Ontario.
Nixon-Bartleman.
Yeah.
Nixon-Bartleman, we haven't been there for a little while. It's spectacular gold on surface, over 500 meters. The last time we were out there, several years ago, we extended the veining through an inconvenient beaver dam, which may have dissolved. And it revealed a historic blast pit that we sampled, drained a lot of the water out of the system. We also found on-echelon veining. That's accessible off the highway and through some lumber roads, but it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, West Timmins. Yeah. There's no town nearby. The accommodations we use are a hunting lodge, and COVID kind of put them behind the 8 ball and so we're gonna. The main part of all the mineralization sits on patents, which we own outright. Yeah. We buffered it with claims because every once in a while we get staked in. So the claims are what we have to work on, and we've applied for relief under the COVID. The Ontario government has granted relief under COVID if you apply for it. Yeah. We actually would like to get out there this fall, relief notwithstanding, because it's an exciting property, and we, wait till the leaves are down. It's easier to work. So
okay.
Yeah.
I guess my question would be your recent marketing efforts. How do you feel they're going? There's this a report that came out actually that on you guys put your valuation more than double where it is right now.
Yep.
And I'm assuming they went through all of your data.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
They went through. They had nothing to do with me, to be honest with you, and they had nothing to do with my CFO. They didn't want to hear from either of us.
They just want to be independent.
They were independent. The only impact I had was at the very end. I was allowed to edit for factual, just for facts. They didn't.
Yeah, you can fact check.
Fact check, okay. And supply information they were missing. They didn't have the up-to-date shares out, for example.
Yeah.
So it had nothing to do with us. So in a lot of ways, it was pretty painless.
Yeah.
It was very frustrating because I couldn't get any feedback from them during the process because they were like, "We're not telling you anything."
Yeah.
I was like,
well,
"Okay,
that's
good, but it's frustrating when you're a control freak to not know something. Come on." But yeah, so they distribute that. They have a paid subscriber base of family offices, brokerages, brokers, fund managers, and then they have a bunch of free. You can sign up for their free information as well. Okay. It's now available to the general public. It's on their website. So it'll percolate through, but I think that's a good thing. And the interesting thing about them is they get picked up, they tell me, by people like Yahoo Finance and that, and they'll start to put a target price in the quote for the stock, which will be interesting.
Right. Because obviously it would be more than 100% upside from that valuation.
Right.
Which, funny enough, a friend of mine, when we talk about Renforth, I would say, what do you really think this company is worth? And he came up with the same valuation. This is just me and a friend talking and speculating. It's not advice or anything like that. But it was around the same valuation as that independent research.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not the first person I've heard say that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, other marketing. I've done some work with a fellow named Ahead of the Herd.
Okay.
So he put out a newsletter, and I've shot a video which might be horrible. I don't really know. He wanted me to watch the whole thing, and I said I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, I hate watching myself.
He said you have to watch it. I said, did you do any cool deep fake stuff? He said, or do I really have to watch this? And he answered yes to both, like just one yes. So I was like, I fast forwarded through most of it, but. Different questions. It's there's supposed to be 10 minutes. I think it's about 14. Covers all the properties. A little bit of a take. He'll distribute it his way. Yeah. But I believe he was effective. I think he has an audience, and he's in Vancouver. Yeah. So a different part of the country.
Well, the reason why I asked the question is, we have our community, but as a speculator and investor, I always like to see companies that I'm interested in and own stock in. Using and try to broaden the shareholder base and all that. So it's important that you're getting the word out through our community, and we put these videos out everywhere, and you have them on your corporate website, whatever. Yep. But it's good to hear that you're doing other things.
We use Investor News Network. They put our stuff out there.
Okay.
And we do some banner advertising, which you might have seen if you go to Stockwatch and that. And so we're doing various things, and then. The OTC idea is as much a marketing as anything else because it'll get our name out there too.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see the Robin Hooders, really start to get into the gold juniors and stuff like that because they can make a lot of money and they have a lot of huge following. And most importantly, you're trying to add value with the drill. Yeah. So marketing is marketing, and it's great to try to get awareness for investors, but you need to hammer out value with the drill, and you're doing that. So. I want to thank you very much for taking the time to come to my place and do another interview here.
Yep.
I believe I've fertilized my lawn twice since you've been here, so that's about 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Or at least. Look forward to maybe another update in September, maybe around results.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Yeah. We can come and talk when there's some public results and talk about what they mean and where they send us next. What are the next steps after those results?
Right.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I think we'll have some interesting results. We're seeing good-looking stuff, and of course, it's not a tip. The lab will tell the story, but we're happy with what we're seeing. So
yeah,
Well,
you've also brought this to my attention. This is a good little nightcapper for me. Wind me down we got no carbs and no sugar, so I'll have to go to the local beer store. No,
LCBO.
LCBO. Beer store. and grabbed me some of this. So thank you.
Yeah.
And all the best over the next 2 months until I get to catch up with you.
Yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned for the results. You'll see the press releases and the newsletters. And
yeah. So let's say if you don't own any Renforth stock, I'm not telling you should buy some, but there are some pretty smart people that have gone through their data and believe that they're worth more than double of their valuation currently. So maybe you should do your own deep dive, and maybe you'll become a shareholder.